Spectrovision Radio.
While our government's official position is not to speculate on this subject, we can choose to let our minds explore other possibilities, to use our imaginations. For if we consider that astroscientists agree on one point, that the possibility of life elsewhere is not only quite probable, some feel it is there without a doubt. Let us suppose then that these objects are real space vehicles, extraterrestrial in origin, and not an illusion of the mind.
I'm Ryan Sprague, and you are now somewhere in the skies. Well, Paul Kimball, we are starting off with a bang. What? How did he get here?
It's my house.
Oh, that's okay.
Why are you in my house?
Oh, about that.
Again. That's his wing right behind us. We give him a wing.
I'm back, guys. I'm back in Nova Scotia at my second home here in, I will not give your town away, but I'm in
Fall River.
Okay, he's going to do it then. All right, Fall River, Nova Scotia, one of the most beautiful places in the province here. And I'm not back for usual reasons, which would be ghost hunting. I'm actually here for the Shag Harbour UFO XPO, which we just got back from. Who's this guy? What's going on here?
This is Jim Moseley of Saucer Smear fame, reincarnated as a, I think he's plastic, as a plastic space alien that I picked up in a Shoppers Drug Mart in Yarmouth. So, and he glows.
And he glows.
On cue. Moseley, you are, we don't call him Jim, we call him Moseley.
Do you think the actual Jim Moseley would be honored that this is what he came back as? Or
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
If it was a grave robbing toy, totally Jim Moseley. He'd be in on that.
Did you ever meet him, Jim Moseley?
Never in person. Talked to him a lot on the phone. By the time I get to know him, he was living in Key West, Florida, and he didn't travel as much. So not any number of phone calls. He didn't use the internet. He was totally like,
That's
internet,
right.
not good. And he famously, Saucer Smear, he typed, and
Yep.
he mailed him out to his list of non-subscribers, of which I was honored to be one. You could request to subscribe, and then you would give him a love offering.
Yeah.
Which is very evangelical. And I considered him a good friend. And he was cantank, but he knew my Uncle Stan too. They knew each other, known each other, been sort of frenemies for years.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Stan liked it.
I've been trying to get my hands on Saucer Smear, just like a copy or two for years now. They're on eBay, and I swear they're like hundreds of dollars at this point.
It's at one point I thought Tim Crawford's company, UFO TV, was distributed. Like you could subscribe, if you subscribed, you could read them online. I think you still can, but I'm not sure about that. I don't know. Because somebody, I think, had digitized them all. Probably Isaac Coy or those archivists who are putting it all.
Yeah.
Together. So Jim Moseley's great claim to fame. Sorry. Two things. One, he wrote a really good book called Shockingly Close to the Truth with Carl Flock. And NUFOC, National UFO Conference, is involved in that. Tons of stuff. The guy was a legend.
Mm-hmm.
But he did, I think, partly to piss off my Uncle Stan when Stan and I were arguing about something. He referred to me as the future of ufology back in 2000 and 00 something or other in Saucer Smear. And I was just like, thanks, Jim, I guess. Don't know if that's a compliment or not.
Is it?
And
Yeah.
I sent him a note and said, no. For about 28 reasons, not me. Instead, it's Jeremy Corbell. So there you go.
There you go. Well, we're not here to weaponize our curiosity, or are we, Paul? Are we? We're here to, I guess, kind of debrief and or review, a friendly review of the Shag Harbour UFO XPO. I'm going to throw up some images as we're going through this conversation too, guys. So you'll get kind of a behind the scenes look, or I guess an exclusive look at what we experienced at the conference. So
Not sure how exclusive it is. We put all our photos on Facebook.
That's true. They're out there already.
You can track them down.
There might be a couple that I haven't posted yet.
No, I told you we're not putting those
We're
ones
not
up.
Patreon. OnlyFans?
I got a wife.
Okay, that's fair. Okay. Cut that, Ryan. Future Ryan.
No, keep that part.
Okay.
It's funny.
Okay.
We don't actually have any photos like that.
We don't. We're kidding. But yeah, you invited me to come back to the second year in a row that I've now attended the Shag Harbour UFO Expo. I had the honor and pleasure of being a replacement speaker last year for Preston Dennett, who actually spoke this year, which we will get to.
Yeah.
So last year, I kind of had the pressure was on. I had to speak. We were filming my Shag Harbour UFO doc, which
you were in the province shooting Haunted. That's
correct. Yeah.
So it made it convenient for them too. They didn't have to fly from Scotland. He was already here.
Yeah.
And we were actually filming in Yarmouth at the same time as the Shag Harbour thing, or just the weekend before. And then we started filming as the guys all came down. That's how he used my crew to go film his Shag Harbour doc.
Like any good filmmaker, just stealing people and using them for free, right?
I gave him permission to use my guys.
They're awesome.
They were happy to do it.
They're so awesome.
But this time you were just here as a passenger.
It was awesome. No pressure. You and I were just attendees. We had no responsibilities other than to show up for what we paid for as guests.
True. Yeah. Correct. And not cause any trouble. I went in because I'm the bad boy of ufology. I went in saying, I'm not here to be cantankerous or get any fights or to say somebody's crazy or stupid. Nope. I'm kinder, gentler, Paul. I'm just coming to listen. I'm just here as a civilian because I'm retired. And I had a great time. It
was so fun.
But now I'm going to get cantankerous.
Let's get to it. So, there's always, what I love about this conference is there's a day of speakers and then there's a day of like activity where you actually go out and you go to the Shag Harbour crash site. You go to this other abandoned former military installation that has kind of a connection to it all, right?
CFS, Canadian Forces Station Shelburne out at Sandy Point, which is long since decommissioned. I actually shot a feature film there when it was in film studio in 2008 or 8. Yeah, 8. So it's been decommissioned since at least 2007. I think it was well before that. But back in 1960, which is when that incident took place, it was top secret submarine, whatever tracking station.
Yeah. And there's, some rumored connections to what was going on with Shag Harbour and things they tracked under the water. We won't get into that. That's up to Chris Stiles. But let's kind of walk through, before the day of the conference actually started. We got there the night before.
We did.
And we decided to go have dinner. And who was the first person to really greet us, Paul?
Well, we were staying in the Rod Grand. Shout out to them. It's our go-to place whenever we're in Yarmouth. And it's where the conference was being held. So it wasn't held in Shag Harbour. Yarmouth's about 40 minutes from Shag Harbour.
Yeah.
Much bigger town. So we're just sitting in Gail's restaurant in the hotel, and Laurie Wickens, who is the key witness from Shag Harbour. I've known him for many years. I was telling Ryan on the drive back, Laurie might be one of my 5 favorite people that I've ever met in ufology, because he's not in ufology, really. And Shag Harbour is the only interest he has in anything UFO related. He's not posting on Twitter or whatever about the latest Tic Tac or anything. It's Shag Harbour. He was a witness to one incident. That's all he talks about. And so we're sitting there munching away, and Laurie just wanders over and goes, "Hey, look." He has a very, very thick South Shore Nova Scotian accent, which, if you've ever been to Ireland or Scotland, it's not the same. But imagine going to Scotland and going to the outer islands.
Yeah.
The accents become much thicker, and if you're not used to it, it can be a little incomprehensible at times. So I've gotten used to it. Him maybe less so. So I translated it.
Yeah.
But he told the greatest story, like almost made me want to be a UFO researcher. Not really, but it was such great. He comes over and he says, "Hey, Paul, Ryan," and I'm not doing this justice accent, but I'm trying to give a bit of the flavor. "Hey, what do you know?" And I think he did actually. What do you know? What do you hear?
What do you know about the Shag Harbour thing? You figure it out yet?
Yeah, but I actually think he, and again, we don't remember, folks, because it's not the fun part of the story, but I think he just said, "What do you hear?"
What do you hear?
Because now I sound like Tibando. Because I started to say nothing, and then you started to say something unrelated to Shag, but just like, well, there's some new something came out, and he just went, "Here's what I hear," and he starts telling this story about how in 1967, the day after the Shag Harbour incident, he was a very young man, I think he was 17, he walked into a bowling alley. So I love this story already. And there were some RCMP officers there bowling. And so he knew them and he walked up to them and he said, hey, you hear anything about that thing last night? And the RCMP officer said, can I swear on your show?
Absolutely.
Done. So the RCMP officer said, yeah, everybody's calling it's a UFO. They're all calling it a UFO, like the government, that's what we're calling it. And Laurie looks at us and the restaurant, like everybody now knew we were in the restaurant.
They're listening.
Laurie, at the top of his voice, like almost bells, because he speaks very loudly. He goes, I looked at him and I said, what the fuck's a UFO? And I just went, yes, I'm making notes. This is going in my next book. This is the kind of color that you need in a UFO story. Because Laurie Wickens, as long as I've known him, usually says that he thinks that at the time, he certainly thought it was a plane that had come into the thing. And so being the ace UFO journalist that I am, take this, Jeremy, I asked the hard questions. Laurie, to his credit, gave the hard answers. So here we are. And I said, Laurie, yeah, that's amazing. I've got a question for you. He goes, what? I go, what kind of bowling was it? Was it like candle pin? Was it small little balls or was it big ones the Americans use? And he goes, it's candle pin. None of that American shit. And it's just like, okay, that I needed to know that. Now I know what kind of bowling it was too that you were doing. The RCMP officers were doing. So that was, and by now, Linda Rayfuse and her husband and two other people are sitting at a table halfway down the restaurant. And they now realize we're here. They go, hi, Paul.
They're
hi,
the
Ryan.
Conference organizers.
And longtime friends.
Yep. Amazing.
She used to run the Queens County Museum, which is haunted. And so it's like, cool, thanks for introducing us to everybody, Laurie, that's in the restaurant. We were trying to fly under the radar. Laurie says, hey, what do you know?
Yeah.
Here's what I know.
It was like, you can't ask for more than to get to a UFO conference as, flies on the wall. Yep. And then the primary witness to the reason we're there, the Shag Harbour UFO incident, just comes up, knows both our names. I just felt like so honored that this guy remembers us from time to time, at least me.
I don't feel honored. He's just Laurie Wickens.
He's Wickens. Wait, what's his nickname?
Dickie.
Dickie Wickens.
Everybody down there calls him Dickie.
Yep.
And I still call him Laurie. It's like, my parents-in-law, I still call them sir, ma'am, or Mr. and Mrs. Wood. They go, call us Ivan, call us Doris. Yeah, no, I'm not seeing that happening. You're Mr. Wood to me. You always will be. And he's Laurie Wickens to me. But everybody, so when they do the bus tour 2 days later on Sunday, we go to this restaurant. We're ahead of the bus. The people at the restaurant, it's empty and they won't seat us because it's the bus. So we need to see how many seats might be left, blah, blah, blah. And so they all come and Laurie says, hey, what do you know? And he's like, well, we're just waiting to see if we can find a seat, Laurie, because, the bus, he said, I'll get you in. So he's the waitress lady who'd been ignoring us. And he says, I get these two guys a seat. And we're like, no, we're okay. We'll just go to this other restaurant. And she looks at him and she goes, whatever you want, Dickie. And it's like, on this day, in this place, in this moment, Laurie Wickens is fucking God.
Yep.
He owns that place. And we still went to a different place. We were like, no, it's all packed. We'll go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Had a lovely dinner in Shelburne. But yeah, that's Laurie. He's one of a kind. So we were walking around. You weren't doing it because it's more me. But I was referring to us as UFO legends, which on Facebook and everything. And I think some people actually took this. It's how you can create, you can self-create your own myth.
Yeah.
So we were co-creating a myth that we're legends. He's more of a legend than I am. Although I was supposed to be the face of ufology. And we're getting, so there's a big Shag Harbour UFO. So we show up at the conference the next day, first lecture passes, which I'm sure you want to talk about. And then we're standing outside and there's this thing, the sign says Shag Harbour UFO. And Ryan goes, hey, you want to get a selfie in front of that? Yeah, sure. So we stand there and then Laurie comes over and he says, hey, you want to start a show in your picture? And it's like, yeah, we're right here, buddy, right in the middle. So he pops in.
I'll put the picture up right here.
Here it is. And I had my iPad, so I put it on a 5-second timer so we could look, get my chin out, don't look fat, whatever. And Laurie, of course, was like, what's taking so long? So, first one didn't go so well. Hey, Laurie, we're just going to do another one, 5-second burn. It's a tough guy to work with if you're a television professional. And he's like, yeah, fast it. Got other pictures to take with other people.
A busy guy.
Yeah. And so we take the pictures like, all right. And then he just Tasmanian devils off to the next guy. And you know what? It seems like I'm making fun of him. I'm not. Laurie's awesome.
He is.
And so there's this conference and a lot of people organize a conference and, maybe hide in a corner or something. No, not Laurie. Laurie's got that's his weekend and that's his mission. And he talks to everyone. You got questions for him? He'll talk to you.
He's always there, always available.
Yeah.
That's more than you can ask for most organizers. And like you said, he is the reason we're there. Other people had witnessed this thing happen, but if he hadn't been there to call the RCMP, to get them to go there, and on the spot tell them what he saw and what happened, who knows where we'd be now.
And then when Don Ledger and Chris Stiles tracked him down years later, I don't know how it went with the other witnesses, but Laurie was the one. I don't know. It's a good example of Roswell. The one he was Glenn Dennis, because Glenn Dennis was a liar, but Walter Haut was not. But whatever you think about Roswell, Walter Haut was involved. Did release the press release. Maybe he's a little bit of the Walter Haut, or probably more the Jesse Marcel.
I'd
when
say.
Stan tracked Marcel down, Jesse was willing to talk. Yeah. But Jesse never went, as far as I know, didn't go to all the conferences and go around talking to everybody at the conference going, hey, you want to talk to the star? That was Glenn Dennis. So there's the weird thing in the Roswell case, and I met and interviewed Glenn Dennis. He really was kind of a little like Laurie. He was out there, good old boy, told a lot of stories. The difference is Laurie's story has never really changed. And he really was there. And there's actual evidence that he was there. And he really did call the police. And none of what Glenn Dennis said was ever true. So Glenn Dennis is the worst. May he rest in peace. Was the worst of ufology in the sense that here's a witness who just glommed onto this case. But he was an interesting cat to talk to. And there's Laurie over here, who's actually an interesting cat to talk to. He really is a witness to an actual UFO case, whatever you think it was. Yeah. So Laurie's like, ding, ding, 2 thumbs up for Paul.
Oh, man. Well, okay. So you mentioned first day of speakers. Let's do it.
Or Dickie.
Let's go down the line of speakers that we had. So 9 a.m. starts. We hadn't really even had our coffee yet. We had a late night the night before, but we did it. We got up and we were there at 9 a.m. sharp for the first presentation, first sip of coffee. And what pops up on the screen for Paul Kimball?
Now, when he says we had a late night the night before, it sounds like we were out drinking until 5 on the wharf at Yarmouth or something. No, he's on Scottish time, and I'm on filmmaker time, so I didn't get to bed until 5 because I was just lying in my bed doing work and stuff. So yeah, so you got there before I did. You were right on time.
Yeah,
I wandered in about 10 minutes late, and it's a guy named Terry Tibando speaking. Now, I just had done the Anomicon 2 weeks ago, I think. And my presentation was fascism, the far right. Yeah, it's bringing back some PTSD to a few of you. But the presentation wasn't for you, it was about you. Fascism, the far right, and the terrible influence it's had in ufology. And I sort of went off in that presentation about a guy named Ernst Zundel and Nazis. Now, he used Nazis to lure people into ufology and all that sort of stuff. Secret bases in the Antarctic. Great. And I walk in the door, and there's Linda Rafe, who's sitting there, and her husband Clark, and I go, hey, guys, so great to see you. Get my little bag. It's got my gift bag or whatever. And I look up, all right, seats. And there's Terry Tibando talking. And on the screen is a picture of a Nazi UFO. And I'm just like, oh, come on. This is like on the nose. This is too much. The universe is telling me.
Good morning, Paul.
And, good morning, Vietnam, as they said. Now, Terry Tibando, not a Nazi. So he's not heard Sentinel. He was just, he's wrong and he's a super believer, but he was going through a very long list of basically everything that ever claimed to be a UFO story. He covered it. But the funny thing about Terry, and I don't want to hog your show, so you can follow up on this one, but I sit down and he's like, and this is a real picture of a Nazi UFO. This is a legitimate, real picture of a Nazi UFO. Go ahead, Ryan.
False. Now, nice guy. Again, we're not here to, make fun of this conference. We're not those types of people.
One of the best conferences I've ever attended.
Absolutely.
Amazingly entertaining.
I will go to this thing as long as they keep doing it. I love it. But it was unfortunate to have a speaker claim this is an authentic picture from 1942 of a alien being. And the quality is just incredible. We were able to get this photo. And
it's like the Nazis that invented AI somehow.
Somehow AI existed back then because it was clearly an AI generated image. And it was unfortunate because it happened 3 or 4 times throughout his presentation, including the Nazi UFO was also AI generated. And
to be fair, his presentation got a lot less Nazi-esque after that.
it did.
So there were no more Nazis after that.
No.
And he just rolled on eventually Mars and a bunch of other stuff.
Let's get to that. Now, besides the being critical of these images he showed, well, I guess we're going to continue being.
And he was a
critical.
last minute. He was the U of this year.
He was me
Because
this year. He was a
he
replacement.
replaced Kevin Randall.
Yeah.
The irony, because I'm pretty sure there would have been no Nazi UFOs in Kevin Randall's presentation. Kevin couldn't make it. And so Terry Tibando wormed his way in, and he's from Canada. He's from the West Coast.
Yeah.
And gave an entertaining presentation.
Entertaining is the perfect word. Now, I know there was something you really took from this presentation towards the end, so I'm going to let you take that.
Okay. He was going through a tour of the solar system because I think he claimed to have been in a space. No, he had never been in a spaceship. That's the next lecture.
He was abducted, I think.
Yeah, or certainly contacted. He's involved with Greer's CE5 program, and his bio, I'm not speaking out of school, he claims to, and I believe this is true, he was a significant funder to one of Greer's documentaries, and he's been on CE5 things and the whole 9 yard where they go in the woods and point a flashlight at the sky or whatever they do. So he's a Greerite, no question. But so he's kind of going through, and a remote viewer. I mean, he basically anything that's ever been talked about within ufology, he does
He's done it.
or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's in his 70s, although he doesn't look that old. And his wife heckled him from the audience. Ryan can talk about that in a second because that was fun too.
Oh,
because he was sitting next to her, unbeknownst to me.
Yep.
He got to Mars, and so what he does is he takes these pictures from like Mars that I assume rover or whatever is taken. And like Richard Hoagland once did, you know, you can see in photos whatever you want to see. And he said, a lot of these pictures are really blurry, but I've cleaned them up and I've increased the resolution and the contrast so that we could tease out the image. Yeah, okay. Those are rocks, but whatever. One of them, though, because he was a former pest control, what did he call, specialist or something?
Yeah.
His career was basically, you know, like kind of the guys my wife brings here to set the rat traps out or whatever. We had an ant problem, call this guy. And he said, I know animals when I see them. And that's a bilby. He narrowed it into a bilby. He said, there's this little furry creature on Mars, and it looks just like a bilby, which is an Australian furry creature that kind of looks like a rabbit. So I'm sitting there, and I think it was, you know, didn't have coffee. Whoa, space rabbits, Martian space rabbits. Fuck yeah. Because they're not rabbits, they're snowshoe hares, but we have wild snowshoe hares in our yard here, and they're dear to me, and I feed them, and they're lovely little animals. And I love rabbits. Watership Down is my favorite book. And I went, Martian space rabbits with an Australian accent. All right, I am all in on this presentation now. Forgiven for the Nazi thing. Woo, let's go, baby. And you know, he goes on this whole thing like, yeah, they're basically Martian space rabbits on Mars. And then he says, now, if you think that's strange, let me show you this. And suddenly we're on Pluto. And I mean, I don't know how the Martian space rabbit was breathing, but whatever. On Pluto. And he said, look at this picture. And I just go, oh, this looks like a giant rock. And then I teased out an image from it. Here's the before and the after. And I went, well, good for you. And it's a snail. He said, there's these snails on Pluto. Okay. Well, little baby snails. And he goes, they're giant. Wait, what? That snail, and I've done some azimuth measuring with the thing in my whatever machine I have in my head and everything, and that snail is probably, I don't know, 8 stories tall, mm-hmm. and the snail track might be 1 kilometer wide. And I'm like, holy shit, that's a pretty big snail. So, whoa. And I'm looking around the audience going, come on, this has to be a bridge too far, right? Maybe the space rabbit, but the Martians, the Plutonian snail, and a few people, but some people were like,
all in
Pluto. And I went, now the old me would have said, these people are cray cray. The new me went, you know what? I don't know. Maybe it's a snail on Pluto. I don't think so. I'm skeptical, but I'm in on the Martian rabbit. Like I'm totally in on the bilby of Mars. So, and he found skeletons on Mars. Like, now, let me tell you something, folks. This is a pro Terry Tibando comment. He shows this thing, and to me, it's just a formation of rocks that he has maybe made to look like a skeleton. or interpreted to be a skeleton. I don't think he fakes anything, but I just don't think he knows that when he does those things, like he's not self-aware of what's happening here. So then he sees what he wants to see. So he goes, there's this half skeleton. I went, okay. And then he shows another one and he says, there's this other guy whose name escapes me, and he found a full skeleton. Full credit to him. He found more than I did. And I went, you're giving another researcher credit for doing something better than you did? All right.
That's rare.
That's a check mark for you, sir. Fine. All right. Yeah. So that was Terry Tibando. I have Nazi UFOs, Martian space rabbits, Plutonian giant snails the size of a skyscraper, and giving another researcher credit for being better than him. I
love it.
That's an entertaining presentation.
I'm going to do the fifth point, you had mentioned.
Yes.
And that was the heckling wife. He brought his wife with him, and she, she clearly is not a believer. I mean, I don't want to put words in her mouth, but she was up there.
Well, you were sitting right next to her.
I was sitting right next to her, so I can kind of put words in her mouth.
Her words.
And, he had made a joke during this presentation, like, oh, yeah, my wife is just waiting for the... He was comparing it to if life insurance would cover alien abductions, which was kind of funny. It was a good joke. But he said, my wife is still waiting on that life insurance policy. And she, I'm no kidding, just yells out in the middle of his presentation, yeah, and I'm still waiting. Time's ticking. And I'm not kidding you, during his whole presentation, she was just shaking her head and like, no, Like, talk about having someone critical in the audience. His own wife is his biggest critic, and maybe that's a good thing. Someone's got to challenge him. But it was funny nonetheless. She was a nice person. You had an opportunity to talk to her.
Might explain why they weren't walking together when we drove by them.
That's true. We did see him about 2 blocks apart from one.
They're older, and she was sort of struggling, and he was just beetling on in front. It's like, sir, wait for your wife to catch up to you.
Some UFO conferences bring people together, and some rips them apart.
Yeah, when they showed up at Shag Harbour, Shelburne, I think she stayed smart because it was hot and there were flies.
Yeah,
I think she stayed in the bus or the car with the air conditioning on, and he came out.
Yeah,
because she seemingly had no interest in almost anything, but she was there to support her husband and come on a trip, I assume. This is why my Aunt Marilyn never went to conferences with my Uncle Stan, though, because she would have heckled him in the audience too. It's like, oh my God, Stan, I can't believe you said that for the 5,000th time.
Oh man.
So we were doing a letter rating thing of people's presentations, which is really a bitchy kind of thing to do, but I'm going to do it. I got a grade on a curve. I've seen Stan Friedman speak like about 94 times. So I've seen really good speakers. I give Terry a B- because it was entertaining. I am grading solely on entertainment value. And you'll get a bonus if I actually think what you're saying is like, okay, that's interesting too. Terry's is solely on entertainment, B-, because he was well spoken, reasonably well spoken. If you booked him to your conference and it was a kind of conference where you want to hear a guy talk about Martian space rabbits,
he's your guy.
He's your guy. Yeah,
I like that.
That's the best thing I could say.
A B, you said?
B-,
B-,
because he's getting docked a half point for what happened at the experiencer session.
I was just going to say that does influence mine as well, and the AI image thing really turned me off. So I'm going to go with a B- as well. Actually,
there you go. And we'll briefly mention him in the experiencer thing. It wasn't a big deal, but it cost him a little bit of a letter grade.
Yep, we'll get to that. Who was our next speaker? That would be
Dorothy.
Yes, Dory Safran.
Saffron.
Yes, Dolly Safran.
Dorothy. We should. Oh my God.
Our apologies.
We blocked her out.
Yeah, it's been 3 days since the conference.
I thought it was Dorothy.
I think
maybe it's not. Saffron.
I'll put the correct name up on the screen.
There it is. This was the only her second time ever speaking. She said she had spoken at a conference in West Virginia. And she was there with Preston Dennett because he had written a book about her. You know what? You were probably more awake during most of this presentation than I was.
Yeah.
I might have nodded off for 5 minutes here or there so you take it.
Okay. Well, her big thing is, well, first of all, she's had a crazy, interesting life. She's lived everywhere, worked everywhere, had every job you can possibly think of, including assistant manager at Wendy's, which is, hey,
it's not on my bio, but sure.
Yeah. I've been
limo
there.
Driver, security agent, I think, worked as a nurse.
Yeah.
Knows Krav Maga and karate. So yeah, there's a very long resume, including assistant manager.
Yeah. But the reason she was speaking is she is a claimed experiencer. Since she was a young age, she told us a story about
That is underselling it, my friend.
I know. She had a twin that went missing at birth, and that was interesting. And then this led to her first experience where she ended up, as a kid, she went missing and ended up showing up at a gas station or something like that.
It's kind of like the Chronicles of Narnia. You just go through a wardrobe or something and you wind up in a different dimension.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she started having beings visit her in her home. And then this is where things get interesting. They slowly started to teach her how to pilot their craft, the UFOs, so that she could become a pilot for these entities, these beings.
Yeah, she had her own room on the UFO.
She had her own room.
And they were teaching her, and then somehow she'd come back here, and only a little bit of time would she spend all this time up there.
Yeah, like summer school.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sucks you're going to school twice.
I know.
So she was doing double duty at school.
She detailed each experience, which was really interesting. And then she started telling us about how she did this. And I found this pretty fascinating because it's the big talk of the town in ufology right now, Paul. And that's psionics.
You say that like I'm out. Wait, I am out. So I don't know. Tell me more about
psionics. Do you know about psionics?
Well, I know about psionics. I didn't know it was big in ufology right now.
Yeah, that's apparently how the Tic Tac is being operated, according to famed journalist Ross Coulthart, acclaimed journalist who's never done anything wrong in his life. Ross Coulthart.
By the way, folks, he's actually going to be on the show later. You wait for it.
Yeah, get ready.
Pull a little Jimmy Kimmel here in a second.
And man, I really hope Ross Coulthart doesn't see this. Anyways, psionics.
What are the chances?
Piloting a UFO psychically, basically. And this is what Safran claimed to do. And I think my jaw, Looney Tunes style, hit the ground when she made the claim. She showed the Turkey UFO, the famous Turkey UFO video. Maybe I'll put a few seconds of it up here for you guys to see. You've probably seen this video in every top 30 UFO videos, whatever. Interesting, compelling video. And then she said, yeah, that's me. I'm in the craft in that video. That's me piloting the Turkey UFO.
I thought you told me the Turkey case, which I'm not familiar with, had been debunked.
It has.
Okay, so interesting, compelling video. Debunked, compelling video? I don't know.
As far as I know, it has been debunked. I know there's people watching this and listening right now who will argue that.
Okay.
But from what I was told, it was nothing but a cruise ship on the water. The video had been darkened, blah, 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 blah.
Gotcha.
There's been explanations.
It's a controversial case.
There we go. Yeah. But she piloted that UFO. And then she went on to claim she piloted other famous UFO videos that have been around. She didn't say she piloted the Tic Tac.
Or Shag Harbour.
Or Shag Harbour. Yeah, because not a good job of that one if it crashed.
Or Roswell.
Yeah.
No, that's right. She didn't claim to have piloted any crashed UFOs.
That's true.
Just ones that fly.
Yeah.
And then she showed some shaky video from southern Nevada.
Yeah.
Her and her friend driving cars. That's whatever the name of the creature. His name started with a D. Tulpawalpa. I can't remember if this alien exists. I apologize. Tulpawalpa, I'm going to call her. And that's her. She's piloting. Look, they're showing. Why? Just to her friend. Just land the damn craft.
Yeah.
It's just you and your friend, and you pilot these things. So why don't your friend just when you're piloting one of these craft, why don't you just drop it off in the front yard of the United Nations or the Kremlin or the White House or whatever and go, hey, look, here it is. What are the aliens? What are they going to do? Stop you? You're piloting it. No, because that's not what's going to happen. Because she did go on a bit of a rant or tirade about how things are going to end or what's really going on.
Yeah.
The Q&A went off the rails a bit.
Got a little gloom and doom towards the end there, but interesting nonetheless. For her second talk ever, I thought she did pretty good.
Oh, as a speaker, she was fine.
Yeah. Again, entertainment is a good word, and a lot of people may not be going to these things looking for entertainment. They're going to look for answers. But I think at this point with you and I, we're looking for just a good time at these UFO conferences because nobody has the answers. Let's be honest. Even the people up there speaking don't know half of what the hell's going on with these things, if anything.
We have the answers.
We've got them.
We just don't tell people.
And you can get all of those answers over on Patreon right now. Patreon.com/somewhereskies. You want all the UFO answers right now, guys.
Ross Coulthard in the green room back there. I'm going to give him the answers when he comes out. He'll be here at the end of the show, folks.
He's coming. He's coming.
So, I dock her some points for maybe the Q&A because it got a little. It was weird. Some lady asked, and Dorothy, Dolores, this is terrible, should know. Miss Safran, that was her last name was Safran, shot this lady down and said, it's not what you think it is. It was all about enlightenment and what do they call it?
The fifth dimension, ascension.
You know, like whatever.
Insert woo term here.
Bingo.
Yeah.
And Miss Safran didn't disagree with this person that there was some of this going on, but she did disagree with her that it was open, I think, to anybody. And it's like, it was weird.
Yeah.
It got a little awkward at the end. A little awkward.
Yeah.
Not evil or mean, but just she got a little feisty. And the person in the audience who I was sitting near, seemed to take it in reasonably good humor, but was somewhat disappointed that she wasn't going to be ascending anytime soon. So it's not going to go the way you think it's going to go. That was her punchline. I give her a C. Yeah,
I'm going to go with a C-. She rubbed me the wrong way, especially, I mean, as entertaining as it was to hear her say she piloted the turkey UFO, I don't believe that for a goddamn second. I'm sorry. I'm just being honest. But interesting talk for sure.
She's an interesting cat. And you know what? I will say this. A lot of people speak at UFO conferences and they'll do the speech and then they book or they go. And if you're running a table selling books and stuff, fair, totally fine. No problem. But if you're not, they go to the restaurant and just hang out or whatever. She bounced back and she was there for Marc D'Antonio's talk in the end of the afternoon. And I'm pretty sure she was there for Terry Tibando's
all
talk.
of them.
And she was definitely there for Preston Dennett because she came with Preston Dennett. So I think she stuck it out for the whole thing. I'll give her a bit of credit for that. Cool.
Sorry to step on you there, but the more I'm reflecting, I think every speaker stayed for every other speaker's talk.
Pretty
to
much.
My knowledge.
D'Antonio was there all the time.
That's like you said. That is very rare.
Terry Tibando kept pointing him out and going, now Mark and I disagree. He's an astronomer and I'm an astronomer. I think he took astronomy undergrad or whatever.
Yeah.
Now Mark has a slightly different interpretation. And it's like, you can see D'Antonio there going,
yes, I do.
I absolutely do.
Yeah.
That's not a space rabbit on Mars. But, whatever.
Right.
So yeah, they all went to each other's lectures, which was kind of nice.
I respect that.
Yeah.
And then we went to lunch. We came back.
Jake's. We went to Jake's.
Went to Jake's. Had some good pizza.
Filmed an episode of the Paul Kimball Show in a park.
Yes. Go subscribe to the Screen Atlantic YouTube channel.
Yeah.
You can watch the Paul Kimball Show. We did some pretty much immediate reactions to the talks right after. So if you want a more immediate reaction, there you go, guys. Go subscribe there. You can watch episodes 1 through 3. More to come.
There's probably only 3 episodes.
That's going to be it.
It's a situational based show. Like, am I at a UFO conference?
Yeah.
Then I'll do.
Series premiere, series finale.
Right there, all in 2 days.
I love it. Who do we have after the lunch break? Would that be Preston Dennett? Okay.
Totally your bag here.
Okay. The Somewhere in the Skies podcast is free to listen to every week, but if you would like to help support the show, we have a very active Patreon page where you give what you think the show is worth. In return, you'll get early access to the main show, bonus episodes, and priority to ask our guests your listener questions. Your support truly makes the show continue and grow. So, to learn more and to join, visit patreon.com/somewhereskies. Preston Dennett. Now, this was the gentleman I replaced last year. He was unable to make it, unfortunately, but I was, again, honored to do it. And I got to finally see him give a presentation. I've been following Preston Dennett for years now. Runs a wonderful YouTube channel. You guys should definitely check it out, where he literally just tells UFO stories, which is clearly my thing. And he does them in that really fun top 10 way. Top 10 cases of UFOs healing people. Top 10 times someone punched an alien in the face when they got abducted. Like, he really knows how to do these
top 10 cases piloted by Miss Safran.
Yeah, exactly. That's to come, I bet, if he hasn't done it already. So yeah, I love the guy. He's so calm and like he's super chill.
He's an ASMR video.
Totally.
I don't mean that way, but he has a very
And no offense, I put his videos on sometimes at night because they're like 3 hours long to fall asleep to. And people do that with Somewhere in the Skies. I know some of you watching this right now are falling asleep to it.
Wake up!
You love the sound of their voice. Wake up! Wake up! We're talking Preston Dennett. Mostly says wake up.
Yeah.
So Preston, kind of like Dolly, just kind of told a lot of stories, but not from an experiencer perspective, even though he is an experiencer. But he told his top 4 favorite Canadian UFO close encounters.
Only 3 of which he's going to talk about.
Yeah. The others were interesting. He opened with one where like this dude met this super hot chick and started following her around like Toronto or something in her Cadillac.
None of these stories sound like alien stories. They all sound like episodes of Law and Order Toronto.
Yeah, exactly.
Boom, boom.
But yeah. So he told the story, and she ended up like leaving him some bracelet from Atlantis in her car, and it was crazy. Love that.
I had a date like that in Toronto once. So.
Ended the same way.
Still get the bracelet.
Okay. More than that person did in the case we heard.
It's true.
He told one about a kid who had seen like an alien gray over a bridge at some point. Interesting cases. But the case we will not be discussing was controversial, to say the least. We will not get into specifics, but it's not a case that I would suggest Preston Dennett continue presenting in public. It was just very highly problematic if one were to interpret it the way that it was kind of presented. So
it's a case that should be reported to the police.
Yeah,
honestly.
Let's leave it at that.
Yeah.
For various reasons. But overall, Preston's a fun, super chill guy. I think he put everyone at ease, and
for sure.
And yeah, he was a good addition to the day's I guess presentations. I don't really know what else to say other than it's the Preston I've been listening to for years, and it was good to finally see him, like actually meet him in person.
Yeah, if you like UFO stories, he's a reasonably good UFO storyteller, and I'd give him a C+ because I'm just going to dock him for that one case that we're not going to talk about, which, there's probably members of Congress trying to release the Epstein files, and it might be somehow related to that. Just, I'm telling you, folks, Preston, take that case out of your thing. It's not good.
Yeah.
But other than that, I found him a little too. Remember, this is entertainment value. I found him a little too. He was fine. C+ is you're fine grade.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to hear UFO stories, and I'm sure he has a lot of better ones if he's not forced to do Canadian ones.
Okay.
So if you're in the US, like, hey, look, he'd be a good guy to have at your conference because he does seem like a very, very, very nice man too.
Mm-hmm.
Like just a cool, nice guy. So I'm being harsh with the C+. I should probably be B-. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go B-.
B-.
I won't penalize him for the one story that he shouldn't have included and that he did go on at some length about. Just for being a nice guy, I'll give him a B-.
Totally. Yeah. I'm going to go with a B+ as well.
Fair. Wait, no, not as well. I gave him a B-.
A B. Okay.
You're B+?
I'll go B+.
Wowee.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll be a bit softer only because I have been a follower of his for a while and I'm a fan.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah. And I can't wait to see his next video. So
no, and seems like a very nice guy. Again, like no criticism at all from me. Just sort of it was fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Next up, we had Marc D'Antonio.
Oh, yes. So for entertainment value, by far the most entertaining speaker. Like he is the anti-Preston Dennett. And that's not meant as necessarily a knock on Preston Dennett, but Marc D'Antonio moves. He's peripatetic. He's employs the Socratic method. He's asking questions of the audience. I mean, He's like
interactive.
If I was to call him a low rent Stan Friedman, that would probably sound like an insult. But he has a bit of Stan Friedman in him. Like part of what I'm doing here is entertaining. It's a bit of a show. I'm imparting you information. I'm going to take you on a journey did take him a little long to get to the point of his talk, but I found most of what he was talking about until he got to the point of his talk, which I found less interesting because I sort of disagree with most of it. But when he was talking about astronomy and planets and all that sort of stuff, yeah, he could. What was it you said? Somebody said to me, might not have been you, he would make an excellent community college lecturer on astronomy.
Yes.
Which might actually be what he does. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he's that kind of guy. He's seemed very nice in person and friendly. And I thought his lecture was the best put together. Like Miss Safran's, 'cause I can't remember her first name. Hers was like stream of consciousness. It went at beginning and end. But Terry Tibando's was very organized, but sort of meandered every now and then. Preston's was pretty organized, but very ASMR. D'Antonio's was very organized, but kind of like punchy.
Yeah.
And I think he might even have known the crowd maybe by this point was like, oh, we've been up since 8:30 or whatever. So he's a good guy to put on at the end of your roster to
wake him up
back up again.
Yeah.
Especially after Preston Dennett has perhaps put a few of them to sleep, just with his voice. So yeah, I quite enjoyed his presentation.
Yeah.
He would. What I give Tibando, a B minus? I give D'Antonio a B.
Okay.
Almost maybe a B plus. But I grade on a curve.
Mhm.
So at least a B. Solid guy. You put that guy in your conference and you want a guy to deliver a solid, well-prepared lecture that's also going to be entertaining. Can't go wrong.
For sure. Yeah. Super engaging, interactive, cracks some really good dad jokes, which I can always appreciate. He makes science fun. And that's the key. If you can make science fun for people who don't understand science, you've won. You've automatically won. That's a sign of any good teacher, in my opinion. Like making it digestible and dumbing it down enough where we no longer feel dumb and we can understand what you're trying to convey. And what he really was trying to convey, I think, was towards the end of his presentation. Okay, this is the possibility of life out there. This is the possibility of how time can be bent, space-time, blah, 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 blah. And then he lost me at this point, but I found it interesting. He got into how the craft could operate.
Yes.
Like how they could travel here. And it was interesting, this whole concept of like tiny black holes that would be around the craft, and that's how it would move. Like, it was interesting, but that's when it got in the weeds for me personally. And he finally got to UFOs, and that's the part that I kind of tuned out from.
Yeah, weird, right?
Yeah.
Same here. And it's not that he's necessarily wrong. It's just I think that's where the science left him. And the hard science that you can prove, and now he's more into theoretical MUFON science, which
is that a thing?
I guess, which I don't necessarily consider science, and it's fine. It's almost science fiction. It was almost like listening to somebody explain how starships work in Star Trek,
right?
And I guess maybe, but there's no proof there.
Yeah.
But still interesting and thought provoking.
Absolutely.
And I can't say he's wrong. I'm just not going to say he's right. But he certainly raised, like, hey, think about this. I can respect that. Think about this.
Yeah.
So fair. Yeah.
He made me think, and it was in an engaging way, and it really kind of I think it was a good way to.
I'm giving him a B plus. I'm popping him up a point.
B plus.
Think about it. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go with a B. I'm gonna go with an A minus. I got to do it.
It's always one grade ahead.
I love Marc D'Antonio.
You gave Miss Safran a lower grade than I did. So
yeah.
Fair. There you go.
D'Antonio, I'm a big fan of D'Antonio. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's definitely. I think he was my favorite speaker of the event.
You're forgetting something.
Yeah, we're not done yet. We're not done.
Well, we've also forgotten Darcy Weir. That's the one thing we didn't go to because he was presenting Friday night.
We didn't make it.
And we were having dinner with, and then basically we're just tired from the drive.
We should mention that. Yeah, he premiered his documentary about Puerto Rico UFOs, UAPs, which I've seen, actually. I saw it a few weeks ago prior to the screening in Yarmouth. And it's an interesting film. Like, it really gets into the whole USO mystery. And Puerto Rico itself is a very mysterious place. You've filmed this. You know what it's like.
Filmed there with Nick Redfern many years ago. And quite enjoyed it. It's one of my more enjoyable filmmaking experiences, just getting to go to Puerto Rico, get out in the countryside, meet actual Puerto Ricans, as opposed to some UFO expert in San Juan. Nope, we're in a a muddy pig field farm kind of thing in the middle of nowhere in Puerto Rico that our guide found for us. And it's like talking to a farmer who said he saw a chupacabra.
Chupacabras.
Awesome.
Yes.
You know, we talked to a police lieutenant in Mayaguez, I guess, which is in southern Puerto Rico, who had investigated chupacabra cases, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, Puerto Rico's cool. A lot of weird stuff. Or a lot of weird stories, whatever it is. I don't know. And so, yeah, I'll actually look up Darcy's film because I've been there. So
Yeah, worth a watch for sure.
In seeing it.
So yeah, he premiered that film. He did kind of a talk back on it the first night, and
then he emceed the conference because Martin Willis had to drop out.
Yes, exactly. Darcy stepped in. Martin Willis was unfortunately not able to be the MC. He had an emergency. I did speak to him. He's doing great. He sends his love to everyone in Shag Harbour, in Yarmouth, and to everyone who attended. So shout out to Martin Willis if you're watching.
He's a good MC. He was there last year, right? Yeah.
Yep. He's been doing it a couple years now. Yeah. Fantastic guy. Check out Podcast UFO as well. But yes, Darcy Weir stepped in and he was the MC. He did a wonderful job. Really got people, excited for each speaker and, talked them up, praised them, and then send them on their way to give their talks. So yeah, good job for Darcy Weir.
Except the last speaker.
No,
only at the end. He had to go out and somebody had to go out and shut Chris Stiles down.
Oh,
and Darcy bailed on that job.
he got abducted at that point.
Wasn't available at that point. So
they almost put me up on stage. Yeah, they were like, "Well, Darcy's nowhere to be found. We got to get Chris. Get the hook. Get Chris off the stage. Ryan, you go do it." I'm like, I'm not telling Chris Stiles to stop talking
in Yarmouth.
No, not happening. No. But let's get to that. Chris Stiles, the man of the hour, the preeminent Shag Harbour UFO investigator, and he is the headlining speaker every year.
Yes, he is.
At the Shag Harbour UFO XPO, and kind of gives the same talk every year with a little bit added every year. A little more sprinkles on the ice cream sundae, I'd say.
He is the silver medalist of people that I have seen. Stan he's like the Usain Bolt of people I'd seen. I've seen Stan so many times or saw Stan so many times. But Chris, I haven't done an exact audit of it, but I'm pretty sure if I did, I would say I've seen Chris Stiles speak more than any other speaker, not named Stan Friedman, in my career, attending more than a few UFO conferences over the years. Greer actually might be number 3.
Wow.
Greer or Dolan maybe. But there's a big drop off. There's like Stan, and then a giant cliff, and then Chris, and then a big cliff, and then whoever's number 3. So I've seen Chris a lot. It is more or less the same talk. So, but it's kind of like watching Stan in the last 20 years of his career. It's the same talk, but it brings a sense of comfort. Some of the people probably haven't heard it before, so there's that.
Good point. It's always someone's first time.
Yeah, exactly. And he adds a little bit new every now and then. He's got a little bit of an extra detail. He tells it in a bit of a different way. So it's like seeing Henry V as done by the same theater company multiple times, but each night is different. You know what? Perfect example. I went to see Wicked many years ago. I've seen it 3 times, all with the same person, and every one of those 3 times it's the same show. Different cast, but different things happen. One guy came out, the guy who plays Fierro, came running out on the stage, and he flopped, like he slipped, landed on his ass, and okay, this is now a different show than the one I'm going to see the next time I see it. So with Chris, he's kind of like Wicked. He is Wicked. Every show is, look at me, I'm like, Paul doesn't know what he's doing. So you get to go, I can't do it. Yeah, I'm not cool.
Not going.
What?
Nothing.
To my British friends, peace and love, as Ringo would say. Or
for those just listening, they're like, "What are they doing?"
I don't know. We're making hand signs, people. Stiles is, and he's a ramblecore. He's a shambling sort of speaker. I
think you called him the Jack Kerouac.
Yeah, a little bit. He's a beat. He's got a beatnik. He's the Allen Ginsberg of UFO lectures.
There you go.
Stan was like, had his thing. He had a script. He would deviate from it, but Stan was pretty on point. Chris is like all over the place. Chris would be like, I don't know what slide this is. Here, let me get up. And he'll get up, and he's a big guy, and he's old now, and he sort of shambles over, and he looks. He can't see. He said, Oh yeah, no, I remember what this one slide's about. This slide is a document from or whatever. And it's just like, dude, you keep doing you.
Do you, Chris Styles?
Because it's fun, it's awesome, it's homey, it's maritime, it's Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always give Chris an A.
Yeah.
Like, even when he's having a bad presentation, he does it from the heart, and he's so invested. And he's done so much, whatever you think Shag Harbour is. And if you're Dickie Wickens, probably still a plane. But whatever it is, he's done so much research that he's then uncovered a whole other UFO story from the CFS Shelburne from 1960. So, Chris he calls himself the Bulldog. I think he even wears a t-shirt now, the Bulldog of Ufology or something. And he kind of is.
Yeah.
And in that sense, he reminds me of Stan too.
Yeah.
So Stan would go, dig, 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 dig. Lie, cheat, steal, as Eddie Guerrero would say, to get whatever, like tell a fib if you have to. Chris will openly say, maybe I fudged the truth with the archivist so I could get access to the document that I shouldn't have seen. That is a Stan Friedman. That's a Stan Friedman move right there.
I love that.
Research 101. Do what you got to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's always sort of fun to watch Chris. It's like having a piece of your mom's homemade bread. It's like just brings the whiff. Yes, this is Shag Harbour. Chris is Shag Harbour.
Chris is Shag Harbour.
Chris and Laurie, they are Shag Harbour.
Yeah. And not to take away from the incredible work of Don Ledger as well.
Who's most retired.
Yeah. But Chris has become, for me, I think, the next iteration of a Stan Friedman, where you recognize the voice, you know what you're signing up for when you start to listen to what they're doing. And hey, I've seen Chris give this presentation twice now. I've seen him in UFO docs and everything, and you do learn a little bit more every time. And for someone who's trying to make what I want to be the definitive Shag Harbour UFO documentary, I think it's really important that we have these people who are still going after the truth. They're finding new aspects to the case, and it's awesome. There's a reason it's called the Shag Harbour UFO XPO. No, it's no longer just about Shag Harbour. They've transcended that, which is awesome. They've ascended. And then, I think it's awesome. There will always be a piece of Shag Harbour there, and that's with Chris Styles.
You always have a look like every time Paul Kimball opens his mouth, I'd lose 5 subscribers.
Yes.
It's like, I'm not making fun of it, people. I'm just using the Miss Safran's words, ascension or whatever. Chris is great. He gets an A for me.
A+.
Because only Stan gets an A+ for me. So great.
Yep. A+ across the board.
Plus, Chris did 2 lectures.
That's right.
Because he's the guy, like at the end of the bus tour, he's the one on the bus talking, which we didn't take the bus tour. No. We drove ourselves down. But we did get to CFS Shelburne, and he wrote the book.
Sweet Clear 5, I think. Yeah.
And without getting into the details of it, it's another UFO case. And he just stood there at the guardhouse. And the whole place is a disaster zone. Like it was a film studio when I was there. It's all gone to pot now.
I'll put some video in here.
Yeah. It's like Paul, can you shoot some B-roll on my cell phone of me walking through this place? No, I can. I'm just not going any further in because the ceiling might fall on you. There's dead birds, with like bird flu or something. I don't know what. So
that's why I'm sick.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. It's actually quite disappointing to me because the facility had a lot of potential many years ago. And the story of the corruption and everything that went down around that thing, which almost got me murdered because I had the crazy American who owned the place, literally held a butcher knife to my throat.
He's not kidding.
I'm not kidding. And threatened to kill me. And some of you were thinking I probably deserved it. And for once I didn't. So I was totally in the right in this. So this was the first time I had ever been back since I filmed there in 2009. An experience that almost destroyed my career, led to, in some small way, probably me breaking up with my fiance at the time. We're now married again, so it all worked out well in the end. But this was a horrifying experience for me. Started drinking a lot. I mean, it's just horrifying. And to go back and see the base, you'd think I would feel some sort of like, yeah, take that base. No, I feel sad because it is a dump now. It's just like racist graffiti written everywhere and terrible stuff. But Chris stands up at the guard and he just, all right, let's roll. And I don't know how long it went on for, but it was about an hour.
About an hour, yeah.
And it's hot, and you can see there was this nice lady in front of us who I'm pretty sure was there with her mom, and she started to put a sweater over her mom's head to try and keep the sun off her. There were bugs everywhere. And Chris is oblivious to any of that. He does not feel your pain, nothing. Chris is just going to do Chris.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you got to go back to the bus, no hard feelings. You know, you got to sit down, no chairs, but feel free to squat on the pavement. You know, he did warn everybody not to go into the grass because of ticks. So fair. And he said, don't walk any further down because it's full of racist graffiti and deadly stuff. Because I had warned him, tell people don't go down there.
Mm-hmm.
But having said all that, he just plows through and he tells the story. And then it's like, here's the story. And here's how Chris tells the story. Na, 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 I don't even know what's over here, but I'm going over here. And look, something down here. And by the way, yeah.
What's he talking about? Russian pencils now?
What's
going on?
So doesn't matter why he was talking about the Russian space program, I don't know, or the American space program. Russians used to come and spy on this space. And so he said, yeah, the Russians basically were a lot smarter than the Americans. Americans are stupid. Okay, no argument.
None for me.
And he says the Americans spent millions of dollars developing a pen that you could use in space that wouldn't explode from the pressure, God knows whatever, but the $1 million pen. The Russians, they just gave the cosmonauts pencils. And he's like, that was the practicality of the Russians. They knew how to do it. And it actually reminded me of a talk given by Robert Zimmerman back at the New Frontiers Symposium, which I held in 2006 or 7 because Mac was there. It was before it passed away. And Zimmerman was talking about the Russian space program. And one of the stories he told was how the Russians had to go out and do a spacewalk, but they had a tear in their suit. And they had to do the spacewalk to fix something so they could get home. And they just put duct tape on it. Whereas the Americans would probably be like, what are we going to do? We have to consult with NASA and like get 48 scientists in here. And, you know, we probably have a tube of space ink or something we put on. The Russians like, fuck it, put this on. What's the worst that could happen? We get sent back to Russia. So, you know, maybe we die in space heroically. They come back from this space like, no, it worked. Unfortunately, we have to go home now.
I will give it to the Russians. They are a pragmatic bunch.
They are.
Sure.
Yeah, they're always pencils, space pencils. But somehow, in a UFO talk, he worked that into his talk. So that was a deep, it's like being in Prague. Prague is a city for lovers because if you go to Prague and you haven't gotten lost, you haven't seen Prague. I can attest to that personally. So they call it the city for lovers because you get lost. You have a lovely moment or whatever. And you will get lost in Prague, and I did. And you will get lost with a Chris Stiles lecture because Chris is Prague. You will find yourself and go, is that Dvorak? That's the Dvorak Museum. All right, give me the map. Dvorak's here. There's where they killed the Hydric assassins. I can work my way back to where I'm supposed to be. You got to have a map. Yeah. And with Chris, there's no map. You just got to be willing to surf the wave, baby.
I love that.
And eventually he got to where he needed to go.
Oh, that's a perfect description.
No. Put some Beach Boys music in there or something.
Hang 10.
There you go. Actually, there you go. Made sense. As a stream of consciousness speaker myself, I appreciate Chris Stiles.
Yeah.
Part. Yeah.
There. Okay. Now, right. We have one more thing to cover.
We do?
We do. We forgot.
Because Ross is waiting.
Experiencer session.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah. So this is something that happens at a lot of conferences where they kind of turn the tides and let the audience speak, you know, because they have just as much of a voice as the speakers do, and opinions and thoughts on what UFOs are or aren't, or what they've personally experienced. So they had a wonderful group that was kind of in charge of this experiencer session.
About 30 people there.
Yeah, it was. It was one of the bigger ones I've ever seen.
It was like 3 concentric circles. So there was an inner circle at a table, then a group of people sitting. Lesser group, and then you and I had come late and a few others, and we were in the third row thinking, oh, they're never going to talk to us. And they did. Everybody speaks.
Which was cool. Very democratic.
Even if you just said, I have nothing to say, I'm just here to watch. Yep. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Safe space to tell your own paranormal experience, UFO experience. And it really varied from person to person, which is so interesting. And some people are just like, I'm just here to listen. That's cool. Others had some really in-depth stories. Some people just saw a UFO, but that can be a pretty profound experience too.
He told his UFO story.
I did, yeah. So in charge of it was our good friends Shelley, Heather, the Shag Harbour UFO XPO kind of experiencer group. Yeah. So shout out to them if any of them are watching. Wonderful people.
Heather Doucette, I think she And Shelley Gormley, I think I pronounced your last name right, Shelley. She came up to us and said, I want a picture with these two legends. And she's like, my ninja moves, because she kind of got behind us. So like, it's like, okay, yeah, those are top-notch ninja moves there. It's like, and then she was like, got to go get another picture with Terry.
She's
Tibando.
a sweetheart. Yeah,
she's lovely people.
Yeah.
I would, now you folks watching who know me might not expect me to say this, because I could be hard on contactees and whatever during the day. Nope, this was my favorite thing of the entire weekend.
Really?
Yes, with the possible exception of food we had in Shelburne. That was pretty awesome. But the Emerald Light Cafe, if you're ever in Shelburne, it's good food, folks. So, and Mr. Singh's Quick and Tasty.
Oh, of course.
And Honeybees in Yarmouth. Those are our culinary recommendations.
Yarmouth is the most diverse food place I've ever been.
For an East Coast isolated fishing town that has maybe 9,000 people. Yeah, they got an Indian restaurant, Mexican restaurant, they got a Korean restaurant. Yeah. Italian.
You name it.
Yeah. They got a Wendy's.
They do.
There you go.
Yeah.
The experiencer session, I loved it with one caveat, which I will talk about briefly in a second. But I am an historian originally by training, and I love all graduate students have to take a class in oral research methodology, which is basically for Nova Scotians. Helen Creighton is famous for going around collecting ghost stories, just turning a tape recorder on it and letting people tell your story. But Studs Terkel, any of these historians that have gone and gotten the stories from the people, Stephen Ambrose, Band Brothers, like, we don't want to talk to the generals, they're all dead. But let's go talk to the corporal or the lieutenant or whatever. Get the stories of the people who were actually there. So whether I believe them or not, or whether I accept what they say is true or not, doesn't matter. For me, experiencer sessions, their stories are important, whatever the truth of it is. And it creates a body of, I won't even speak as a UFO guy, a body of folk knowledge, the same way that people used to tell ghost stories or sea monster stories. And I'm not saying that their stories aren't real here. I'm just saying it is similar in the same way as to what Helen Creighton did in Nova Scotia with ghosts, for instance. So being there and hearing these stories and seeing people, everybody have a safe space, and you can say whatever you want. As long as you're not racist or anything like that, but you say whatever you want about your stories. Cool. Awesome. And there were probably 4 or 5 that I heard that I went, it's an interesting story. Maybe we could do a little follow-up on that. There was a guy from Peru, told a story about 55 years ago. His father and him were and he's very quiet and very shy and very, how they'd seen met a creature in the mountains in Peru. And it seemed to have really moved him to the point where he's in probably his early 60s now. And he came to this conference, he went to that experiencer session, he was still shy, so he could tell this story. And I thought, okay, this interests me for a lot of reasons, not the least of which is it isn't a technical, a usual Western Anglo-Saxon Protestant kind of, here we are in America telling our stories. Here's somebody from, Latin America telling a bit of a different story from a bit of a different cultural point of view. Awesome. There were about 4 or 5 that I really went, cool. There were about 4 or 5 I went, and fair, you're going to get a mixed bag. And my 4 or 5 might be different from somebody else's. Mm-hmm. That's the great thing too. But even with the ones I'd go, the stories are still, you tell your story.
Yeah.
Fair. Well, with the exception of maybe one annoying guy. Probably should have told the 3rd story. But here's the thing about experiencer sessions, which I love. And I'll without criticizing anybody by name, Terry Tibando, I will just say that when my Uncle Stan would go to conferences, he would do his lecture, give a professional show. And then if he would go sit in on an experiencer session, which he didn't do all that often, but if he would talk to people, he would do more like one-on-one, or maybe there'd be a group of 6 people around his table and they'd start telling stories. Stan knew when to talk and he knew when to shut the fuck up. And at an experiencer session, I believe that if you're a speaker, you should shut the fuck up. Like, you told your story, you had your time, you were paid for it too, which is totally fair, by the way. You've had your moment. Now sit back, go to the session for sure. If anybody asks you, what do you think about this so-and-so?
Yeah.
Feel free to chime in. But otherwise, just keep your mouth shut and listen. Maybe learn, maybe find a thread for your next lecture. I don't know. And then maybe talk to them individually afterwards. Fine. Don't hijack the session. Even if the moderator comes to you, because they're going to everyone, When it lands on you, just go, I've had my time. I'm here to listen to you folks, which is what kind of thing my Uncle Stan would say. This is your time. Some of these stories are really interesting. I'm happy to talk to you about it afterwards. But now this is your time. Next.
Yeah.
Done. And so I'll give Terry Tibando credit for showing up at the experiencer session. He did kind of hijack it.
And not only that, as soon as he was done talking, he left.
It is true. He booked. He stood up, and as soon as he was done, I mean, you could be charitable and say maybe he had to go look in on his wife. Maybe he had an appointment. I guess maybe. But you know what? I think if he'd been further down the table, he would have managed to find the time until it landed on him, done his bit, left. And his bit, by the way, was the longest. He told a couple of stories, which were long and meandering. And then he started trying to get people to get the CE5 app and saying, Dr. Greer this, Dr. Greer that. And if you go and you see the beings of light, and you can start to see some eyes starting to roll. And it's like, read the room, dude.
Yeah.
Even if you want to tell the story, just read the room. You're losing the audience right now. Yeah. And kudos to Heather Doucette. She let it go on about it probably a little longer, actually a lot longer than I would have. But she found a way to get him out of it.
Yeah.
And then, he stood up about 40 seconds later and left. Mm-hmm. I mean, he wasn't angry. He was just like, yeah, that's what I was here for. So off I go.
Bye.
So that's why he gets a B-, because otherwise his presentation for me would have been a B maybe, because it was entertaining. Space rabbits. But yeah, just don't hijack an experiencer session.
Nope.
Don't.
Not cool, man.
Like he had his time. He told his story pretty succinctly. I've heard him tell the longer version. Get it out in a couple of minutes because you want to be polite. Boom, done.
Yeah.
And then they came to me and I don't have a story to tell. And I think I went 3 minutes just saying what you're doing is important. And I talked about Studs Terkel. How great. This is oral history, is a story, and I love it. This is what UFO conferences should be and used to be during the contactee area, a lot of sharing of stories. I value all of you guys and every story you're telling. And that's it for me. Next. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't even a speaker.
Right.
Terry was. So I've gone on a bit about Terry. I know I seem like a bad guy sometimes. This is one of those times when I'm with the UFO people. I'm like, if I'm there, I want to hear your story.
Yeah.
Whether I like it or not, I want to hear your story. And he took, what would you say, maybe 20 minutes?
More.
Maybe 25?
I'd say collectively 25 to 30 minutes of a 2-hour experience.
Yeah. So at the end, they're starting to like, sorry, we're running out of time here. Yeah, you know where that time went, folks. Space rabbits.
Yeah. And, that's the most critical we're going to be, because it was a very obvious, I think, misstep on his part.
I mean this to help him. If he ever
it's a friendly suggestion. Yeah.
Yeah. When I say shut the fuck up,
just shut the fuck up.
But I mean that in a helpful way. Like, just let them have their time.
Exactly. But like you mentioned, so many good things at the conference. It's so good to I feel like we've found a new family out there. Like, it's kind of the same people that come every year, a couple new faces,
yep.
Which is also very exciting. Younger people, there was a young couple that showed up and they're like, yeah, we're not from here. We just heard about this. We thought it sounded interesting. We wanted to see what it was all about. Yep. And that's awesome. Or the guy from Peru, or there were some other people from the US that showed up. I think that's amazing that this is no longer just and
we welcome them with open arms.
Yes, they do.
Because unlike going the other way, where I'm currently probably banned in the US, we welcome people into our country.
Yes, they do.
Especially if you were going to spend your tourist dollars in the United States, come to Canada. We're happy to take them.
Yep. Yeah, I would suggest giving your money here.
Less likely to be shot. Totally
That
less
too.
likely to be shot.
That too.
And to put a pin on the experiencer session, that gets an A+ for me.
Ooh, nice.
I can't dock the experiencer session because somebody hijacked it.
Yeah.
So the session itself, well run, really nice, sweet people for the most part, interesting stories.
Yeah.
So the historian in me just went, this is okay, interesting. And that is not what I would have been like 15 years ago. I would have skipped experiencer sessions.
Wow.
I don't want to hear these people's stories. Like, this is about hard evidence and documents and science. And now I'm like, I've seen the documents and most of them are bullshit and or don't prove anything. I've heard the science. And I don't need any more Congress people. Military witnesses are fine, who's the female pilot? What's her name?
Dietrich?
Sure, yeah, and Fravor, right?
Alex Dietrich.
These guys who have experiences, they're witnesses. They're no better or worse than that lady over there is talking about how her dog was abducted or whatever. That did not happen, by the way. Nobody said their dog was abducted.
Not yet.
But yeah, these just people telling your stories. That's what
I love it.
Gets me off. And it was that sounds wrong. But you know what I mean. It's it's the historian in me that it really digs it. So if you're
Ryan, put that at the top of the episode.
no, leave that in. Yeah. That's what gets me off this week with Paul Kimball. Really, is that what gets him off? Now we know.
And that's it, folks. Thanks for joining now.
Oh my God, we're out of time. We're not going to be able to get Ross Colt. Our apologies to Ross Coulthard. We're not going to have time for him on the show. I'm sure Ryan will have him back sometime.
Sorry, Ross. Go back to the dressing room.
Sorry, Ross. Not going to happen. You and Matt Damon can wait. Deep Jimmy Kimmel reference. But yeah, we don't have time for Ross Coulthard today.
We don't. Sorry.
Because we
more
spent so much
important
time
things.
talking about Terry Tibando.
Yeah. He hijacked our show too.
He hijacked our show. Oh my gosh, he hijacked this show too.
We love you, Terry. If you happen
legend.
to watch this,
Yeah.
just some friendly suggestions.
He's a Facebook friend, and
and
I come at it from the Stan Friedman perspective.
Yeah.
You could learn from.
Absolutely.
Listening is important.
I've been giving lectures for years now. I still have a lot to learn.
The irony of me lecturing somebody on how to listen will, if my wife ever sees this, is totally she'll just laugh her head off.
Cut it with a knife. I love it. Awesome. So what would you give the Shag Harbour UFO XPO 2025 overall?
9 Mosleys out of 10. Even though some of the speakers only get C's or whatever, I give it 9 Mosleys out of 10. Jim Moseley would have liked this conference, actually. I think I've spoken at it twice, I think, before.
Yeah.
Happy to do it for a third time. You guys ever want to have me back? But I'd come as to just watch. It's just, if Martin Willis goes down again, and I hope he doesn't, I'd MC it. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
So much fun. Yarmouth is an awesome town. Their town motto is on the edge of everywhere. It's kind of true. If you're in the US, first of all, sorry. But secondly, you don't have to fly. You can drive up to Maine and hop the ferry over, and boom, you're in Yarmouth. They'll drop you right off in the
within
water.
hours.
You can walk up to the hotel.
Yeah.
So, it's a bit of a drive from Halifax if you fly in, but it's so much fun. The people are so nice. They say that about every conference, and it's usually true, but they're such good people. And it's really well organized and run. They keep on time for the most part. Yeah. It's like where you need to be and what's going to happen. And it's great.
It's great.
Give it a 9, only to give 8.5. I'll give it 8.5, just so they have room to grow.
That's fair.
8.5 Mosleys out of 10.
Always room to grow.
Yeah, room to grow.
Well, I cannot wait to go next year to the Shag Harbour UFO Expo. I know we will be there to report. So this has been your official review of the Shag Harbour UFO Expo. Like, subscribe, rate, and review, all that good stuff. Paul, what do you got coming up? Anything you could share with our audience here?
It's so bad for Ross. I mean, he's really patient.
He's being really polite.
Sorry, Ross.
Yeah.
Sorry. Next time. What have I got coming up? I'm going to Italy with my wife in 2 days. So yay, Florence. And then I got a ton of work to do when I come back. We're still doing television shows and stuff like that. You know what? I'll plug this. Got a feature film out there. It's not mine. I produced it and co-wrote it, but it's called Lost in Time by a director named Henry Collin that I brought in to do it. Stars Alexa Morden, who's the star of one of the 2 stars of my last film, The Color of Spring. Wonderful actress. And Holly Stevens, my old ghost hunting partner, who's also an actress. So she's in it. And it is based on a play co-written by me and my dear old friend Mac Tony, before he passed away in 2007, I think we wrote it. And so I'd been meaning to get it made as a film for many, many years, never did it. Decided I didn't want to direct it myself because I was maybe too close to it. So Henry did a wonderful job. It's on the film festival circuit now. So the title is easy, Lost in Time. And if you see that at an online or physical festival, keep an eye out for it. It's been doing well. 4-star review out of the UK the other day.
Yeah.
Hasn't been turned down for a festival yet. It's made it into 8 or 9. So
that's awesome.
So yeah, I'm kind of working to promote that. So that's what I'll promote.
Perfect.
Because it's got 2 really good performances, Alexa and Holly.
Yeah. Awesome. I love it. Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll be able to see it in the future after the festival circuit.
I'll send it to you.
Oh, done. And I will leak it to all of. No, I'm kidding. But yes, I'm looking forward to that. And again, if you guys can go subscribe to the Screen Atlantic YouTube channel. We'll put a link in the show notes for that. Paul's got a ton of movies on there. A couple early seasons of Haunted are going up there. A lot of other projects you've done as well. So yeah, really good stuff coming out.
Including links to a couple of my old UFO documentaries.
Yeah.
So there's the Bring It Full Circle.
Yeah.
And he'll be back here probably maybe in just a month.
Yeah.
Because I'm shooting a show called Chef's Kiss. I think I might have just hired you to be an assistant production manager.
The glories of having friends in the business, as it were.
I get on somewhere in the skies.
There it is. There it is. Good friend indeed. And our good friend Mosley signing off from somewhere in the skies for your Shag Harbour review.
Sorry, Rob.
Send us out, Mosley.
Thank you for tuning in. And remember, keep your eyes on the skies.
Somewhere in the Skies is part of the Somewhere podcast universe. Please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. To learn more about all of our shows, visit thespu.com.
Spectre Vision Radio.
Just people telling your stories. That's what
I love it.
gets me off. And it was that sounds wrong. But you know what I mean. It's the historian in me